Chapter 15, Learning Outcome 9. Describe how substances are exchanged between blood in the capillaries and the tissue fluid surrounding the body cells. By Latifa Hassan. Exchanges in the capillaries. The vital function of exchanging gases, nutrients, and metabolic byproducts between the blood and the tissue fluid surrounding the cells takes place in the capillaries. The biochemicals exchange move through the capillary walls by diffusion, filtration, and osmosis. Diffusion, the most important means of transfer between the blood and tissue fluid. Blood entering the systemic capillaries carries high concentrations of oxygen and nutrients which diffuse through the capillary walls and enter tissue fluid. Concentrations of CO2 and other waste are usually higher in blood tissue and diffuse onto the capillary blood. These are different examples of diffusion, gas exchange diffusion, and an example of diffusion and transport. Lipid-soluble substance diffuse through cell membranes that make up the capillary wall because the membranes are mostly lipid. Examples are oxygen, CO2, and fatty acids. Lipid-insoluble substances diffuse through channels of the cell membrane and through slit-like openings between endothelial cells that form the capillary walls. Example, water, sodium, and chloride ions. Plasma remains because they are not soluble in the lipid of the endothelial cell membranes and are too large to diffuse through membrane channels. So they actually don't even go through diffusion. Filtration, which is hydrostatic pressure, forces molecules through a membrane. In the capillaries, the blood pressure generated when ventricle walls contract provides the force for filtration. The term colloid osmotic pressure describes the osmotic effect due to the plasma proteins, which includes the albumins. Colloid osmotic pressure causes a net inward movement of fluid at the venular end of a capillary. As you can see here in the demonstration, the picture here shows the arterial and the venous end. Arteriolar end of the capillary equals the higher blood pressure, which favors filtration. The venular end, which equals lower blood pressure, which favors like fluid reabsorption. It dominates there. Okay, and that is the end of the presentation for describe how substances are exchanged between blood and capillaries and the tissue fluid surrounding body cells.